Hey everybody, I've got a fun little indoor project today. I'm going to show you how to make this. It's a garden basket, or a hod, originally used by New England clam diggers. Basically, you can get your garden produce in here and it can carry a whole bunch, and then you can just spray it down with the hose right out in the yard, and so you can wash your vegetables through it too. Here's the basic layout, and what I've done is I've taken a 2-foot wide board. In this case, I'm doing oak. I think I'm going to do a nice finish. It's not solid oak, it's just oak plywood. You can buy this for about less than $10. But basically, I've got a 13-inch width, so measure across 13, and then a 15-inch height. And to make these little curves, check this out. It took me a little while to figure this out. Just get something like a roll of duct tape, whatever you want, a glass, and use that to make your radius. And then same thing down here, you can make that. And then if you stagger these side by side, what you end up with is 18 inches, where we can cut 2 of these from the scrap, 1 inch wide each, and that's gonna be this piece. And this is a little recessed, and it's glued in, and basically we're making the most out of this wood. So the only other thing you're gonna need is a 1-inch dowel. If you buy a 3-foot one, then again, that'll be 18 and 18 inches, so that'll be your handle. You can actually make 2 out of this one. And all I'm gonna use is a jigsaw today. So let's get started. To begin, I'm gonna clamp this on a nice solid table. In this case, it's my table saw, but clamp this down really nice and tight so that it's not gonna go anywhere. And I always wear safety glasses when I'm doing any type of woodworking. So if you've never used one of these, it's just a small blade that oscillates up and down, and it does a great job cutting curves. Here's our first piece, and now I'll just repeat it on the other side. Now that I've got the pieces cut, look at what you can do. You can hold this up like that, and then trace it, and that's gonna be a cutout so that this can nest right into that little rabbet, that little groove. And so now, you can see where you're gonna have a perfect little cutout with your jigsaw for that rail to basically be glued into. Now that I've got those 2 rabbets cut out, what I need to do is drill a hole for the dowel, the handle. And I'm just gonna find the approximate center, and it has to be 1 inch diameter. This is called a Forstner bit, and I have a set of these. I would really recommend getting them if you do a lot of woodworking. It makes a really nice, clean hole. There we have it, a nice, clean hole. Just a little bit of cleanup. Before I glue these up, I'm going to give it a light sanding with some 220 grit sandpaper, just to make sure that my edges are kind of soft and not really sharp and splintery, and also to get some of this pencil and ink off the surface. Now that I've got all the pieces sanded, and the other thing I did was cut that dowel, that 1-inch oak dowel, and sanded it. Now I'm ready to assemble, and the first thing I do is glue it together. I'm just using regular wood glue. You'd be amazed at how strong this stuff is. And then let's start with the dowel. Gonna give it a little bit of glue, and then gently tap it into the hole with the hammer. You'll know when to stop because it's gonna hit the floor. And again, gently tap this till it stops. All right. Now, we can rest this down on its side, like this. Make sure that the flat part of the bottom is nice and lined up. And now you can see where these are going to come into play. Take our nice side facing out, and kind of, just to make sure that the nails don't split that plywood, I'm going to drill a pilot hole. And a finishing nail, in case you don't know, is just a really fine nail with no big head. All right, so I'm gonna get this nice and flush. Put the nail in the pilot hole. After the glue dried, I went ahead and I sanded it again, and I think it looks really nice just with a natural finish. So that's what I'm doing, is just a natural clear finish. While I'm waiting on that stain to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the wire mesh. Now this is hardware cloth. It's 1/4 inch square mesh. So you just stretch it out, and I already know the dimensions I need. And what you're gonna use to cut these are tin snips. Tin snips look like this. And you just cut along it like a piece of paper with some scissors. Paint this wire mesh. I'm gonna be using just flat black spray paint. To finish installing this wire mesh, I'm going to use a big heavy-duty stapler. Now this is oak, so it's going to take a lot of force to try to drive some staples. And here's the finished product. Look at how nice this turned out. I got a nice solid oak dowel handle, and I got this nice stained oak finish. Again, you can just paint yours if you're using scrap wood. And then I got a nice spray painted 1/4 inch wire mesh, and this will hold up for years and wash your vegetables right through the mesh. And I think it came out great. Give it a try.